Aho, buju in den way mark na dok. Anin, kake gabo indigenous cause. Make a knock and do them. Make a knock wajuing and dunjaba. Beishoga kabakang and danongum. Apajigomi gwech bizendawyeg. And what I said there was a traditional Ojibwe protocol greeting. I said, hello, all of my relatives. My name is Kage Gabo. I'm Turtle Clan. I'm a descendant of Turtle Mountain. I live close to Minneapolis today, and I wanted to thank all of you for tuning in and listening to this live Ojibwe Word of the Day. Again, this is something I look forward to doing each and every week. And if you take a few moments out of your day to talk about Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, Chippewa, language, culture, history, spirituality, linguistics, philosophy, I'm incredibly grateful for that, and I'm incredibly grateful for the chance to speak about those things. So, thank you so much for listening. And tonight's word of the day is one we were discussing in language table earlier this week. We were going over how to make a tobacco offering. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, that would make an outstanding Ojibwe word of the day. And so the word of the day today is Asemaake. Asemaake. And I'm trying to keep these at around 10 minutes. And right at the beginning, I'm going to start off by stating unequivocally, there is no possible way we can cover everything about Asema in 10 minutes. So, but it's such an incredibly important topic. Asema, it's one of our four sacred mashkiki, our four sacred medicines, or nukwezigan, those medicines that are burned. It is an incredibly important and spiritual and sacred gift that we have received from the Manadu. And so to take a few moments tonight to talk about that, because that's a key part of that word, Asemaake, Asemaake. And that means to make a tobacco offering or to work with tobacco. And maybe at the very end, we'll go into another meaning of that word. But Asema is what we begin everything with. And here's something I thought of when I was speaking about this. We were going over how to acknowledge the directions, how to point the tobacco at each of the directions and to give thanks. And what I started that talk off with was when I began learning the language 20 years ago. Every single elder I spoke to had the same advice, the same suggestion, and it was 100%. No one deviated from this path. Every single one of them was like, Abaji, get a semam. Abaji, get a semam in dasogijik. Use your tobacco every day. And it gives you an idea that the incredible amount of importance, the significance that a sema has in one's life. And what they're saying is like, give thanks every day. So we use tobacco to acknowledge all of our relatives. We use tobacco to give thanks and to express our gratitude. Our true gratefulness, our true gratitude for that which we have received. We use tobacco to ask for help. And I thought, well, maybe tonight with this Asemaake, one of the teachings I learned was, and this one came from Mukwe Wida Mukwebun, the late Jesse Clark, and Guayako Gabo, Rick Greshik, where they wrote that every day, in that moment in Bidaban, if we go back to, traditional times, people living in Waganogans, the domed lodges, the beginning of the reservation period, and before that, and this is going back literally millennia upon millennia, thousands and thousands of years ago, that time of Bidaban, it's the approach of dawn. This is when they wrote that the old men would wake up and they would greet the sun and they would greet the day with tobacco. Maybe they would load their pipes, maybe they would put it in the ishkode, in the fire in their lodge, but this is how they were beginning their day, with prayer, with gratitude, with acknowledgement of the day that they've received. And so it gives you an idea that it's not just today, but going back thousands and thousands of years ago, this is how Anishinaabe began their day. Waking up with Gimishomasanan, our grandfather, the sun rising, and giving thanks for being alive another day, for seeing the sun, for having a chance, for Bimatsuan, for life. And then after that, if you look at tobacco from cradle to grave, when someone was born, and you were asking for asking someone to give your child, your infant, and Anishinaabe Winzuan, an Indian name, tobacco would be given to that person. And they would meditate with that tobacco, and ultimately, maybe a dream that they've had while they were megwa ki ugoshamot, while they were fasting, while they were on a vision quest. Maybe a dream that will come to them soon will tell them, that is the name I will give that child. And as this child is growing up, they'll notice that in the spring, Muapi Zigwang, in the spring, Muapi Iskigam Ziged, Anishinaabe, when they begin going out and tapping trees to make maple syrup. The trees are given tobacco, and Anishinaabe gives thanks. So before you have even before you tap one tree, that particular ceremony is done. They're giving thanks to the tree. They're acknowledging the sacred gift of this medicine, of the syrup, of the sap. And it's not a trade. We're not trading tobacco for your gift of medicine. What we're acknowledging is humility. We're acknowledging that we're pitiful. We're asking for help, and that this tree has this particular medicine that we need. And I have nothing I can give you in exchange. All I can do is offer you my gratitude and this humble gift of Asemaake, and I can set that down. And so the tree is acknowledged. The spirit of the tree is acknowledged. The spirit of the earth, of Aki, is acknowledged with the tobacco. And then as summer comes along and you begin harvesting particular medicines, the medicines would always be spoken to with the tobacco. So this is Asemaake too. You're addressing the medicine, you're telling this particular plant. And for some Euro-Americans or people around the world, this may seem a little strange to see maybe an Anishinaabe, or there are a number of different American Indian nations, indigenous nations who address the medicines and say, I need help. I'm going to use you for this purpose. Will you please help me? And as they're harvesting the medicine, they're setting down the tobacco, and hopefully that medicine is going to cure us. It's going to give us strength. It's going to be the mushkaki, the strength of the earth. It's going to give us life. We do it when we harvest miupi wamunzod, Anishinaabe. When they're out harvesting berries, they're acknowledging that sacred gift. And then as fall comes around, miupi manomanikate. This is when Anishinaabe goes out and begins harvesting rice. And the rice is acknowledged with the Asemaake as well. And in fact, before, and I've heard this so often, before they would even get on a lake, Asemaake would be there. And you may notice this too if you're in particular communities, before you're getting in the Jiman, or before you're getting in the boat, the spirit of the water, that could be the Zibi, the river, the Zaga Igan, the lake, it could be Gitchigami, the Great Sea, Lake Superior. The spirit of that lake is acknowledged. So they're not praying to the lake, they're acknowledging the spirit that is looking after the water there, and in saying that as human beings, we're asking that you look after us. And we want to acknowledge you. We want to acknowledge your presence. We want to acknowledge your sanctity, your sacredness. Again, I have nothing I can give you, but I can offer you this Asemaake. I can give you this tobacco. And in doing that, asking for help. And they're also acknowledging, while they're ricing, the spirit of the rice, of the food that they're receiving, of the food that they're getting. And then as winter comes along and you've been hunting and you've been trapping, the animals too, when you've harvested the animals, when you've been out hunting, their spirit is acknowledged. Because they have given you the ultimate unconditional love Ojibwe and you Anishinaabe, they have shown Anishinaabe pity. They have shown Anishinaabe unconditional, compassionate love. And they have given us a blessing of life by feeding us, by clothing us, by taking care of us, by giving us a place to live. And for them, too, there's nothing I can give you in exchange for your life, for this kindness that you have shown me. What I can do is acknowledge your gift. I can say thank you. I can express my gratitude. And in that, will you accept this tobacco? And even as our ancestors are going on, Anjik King, as they're changing worlds, as they've passed on, and they're getting ready. This was Anjik King was one to change worlds. Another one was Giwe, to go home. You'll notice at that Ishkode, at that fire, tobacco too is given to them. And so as they're going into the next world, they'll bring their tobacco with them as well. So to talk about this incredibly important word, we can see that Asemaake it's not something that we're trading. It's something that we're using to acknowledge our gratitude. It's something that we're using to acknowledge the sanctity in all of our relatives. And in that, it's something that we can use at the beginning of our day. And this was one I learned from an elder, especially for men, at the end of the day too, to ask for help. This elderly man said, women are very spiritually strong. You men should be using your tobacco beginning of your day to begin your day in a good way, and at the end to ask for help to Jimenopamatsion, to lead a good life. And so that's all I'm going to say this evening about tobacco. Again, it is something incredibly beautiful. It's something I encourage all Anishinaabe, or all human beings, to use in a good way. And that's all I'll say this evening. I want to say thank you again so much for listening. And if you know someone who is interested in our language, our culture, our history, our spirituality, our linguistics, our philosophy, our ethics, please feel free to like and share this video. Please, all of you, do take care. And the spirits will decide when we see each other again.